And that'll do it. It's over. The Bucks have done it. The long wait has ended. After a half century, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on out there? Welcome to the Eye Test. I am your host, Mark Coles, and I am with Shawn Williams today. How you doing, fella? How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's you know what? Something just feels different about today. I don't know, something about the intro. Great day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna dwell on it too much, but
yeah, man, don't sweat the technique.
I won't. You know what I'm saying? Look,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a beautiful day, Mark. That's all I'm gonna say. And you know what? I feel like I'm in a little bit better mood to record now. So,
hey, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. I mean, you know what I mean. I see you. You know what I'm saying? See, I used the play on words there. Thanks to your shirt. You know what I mean?
Yes, I did. I seen that. You know, very observant, very respectful today.
Listen. I'm always respectful, sir. Always.
Okay,
always.
Yeah. I mean, this why I want to get into it. You know what? I'm just going. What do they say? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. They say, you know, all those little sayings. You know, sometimes you just gotta let things be. You know.
Hey, man. Listen, man.
Count your blessings. You know.
Hey, man. When it's right, it's right. You know.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Hey, man. But look, to everybody out there, we got a packed show today, and we're feeling very opinionated today, very opinionated today. So this should be a good one. But we got a few things to get into. Of course, you know, just last night being Tuesday, Game 6 of the NBA Finals was last night, and the Milwaukee Bucks were able to close it out. So we'll be getting into that. We'll be getting into football because football's right around the corner, and the Olympics is literally on Friday starting. So we'll be talking about that as well. But anyway, man, forget all that. Let's get into it, and let's just talk about it, man. NBA championship last night. Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns, and the Milwaukee Bucks close it out with a four straight victory after being down 2-0 in the series. This is only the fifth time it has happened where a team has been down by 2 and 1, and I think this is only the second time it has happened where the team was down by 2 and then won 4 straight. Yeah, kind of crazy, man. Kind of crazy. So I'm gonna just start off and just say, what were your takeaways from the championship game, or what? Not necessarily championship game, but what were your takeaways from the championship series overall?
Shoot. Defense still wins championships. Regardless of whatever narrative people try to put out there. The Bucks didn't completely shoot themselves out of games, which was a problem in the past. The point guard play, you know, the move to get Drew Holiday, regardless of his low shooting percentage, the move to go get a point guard seemed to have paid off. And it showed me that, you know, hunger matters. You know what I mean? Hunger matters. And man, I saw a post the other day. Matter of fact, shout out to Mr. John Paul. You know, Mr. John Paul Layton. He posted and said, you know, everybody want to talk about Mamba mentality until it's time to be Kobe. And I feel like he was talking about Devin Booker, but you know what I mean. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know,
Hey, Devin Booker said this like over a week ago. He said that's cute and all. Like I have some aspects of Kobe's game, but I'm not Kobe. Stop comparing me to him. So
Yeah, I feel like everybody should stop comparing people to Kobe, but that's just me. And I'll take that. That's Devin Booker, but really, I don't think Leighton was speaking to Devin Booker. He's speaking about Devin Booker to the fans. You know what I mean? And but because what this championship series came down to, in my eyes, was hunger. You know what I'm saying? Passion, the will to win. You know what I mean? That was the visible difference between the two teams. If you ask me. Giannis, the last time I saw that level of hunger in a finals, Mark, you're talking about the last two times that I believe I saw it. You got to talk about Dirk when the Mavs won, and you got to talk about D Wade when he won his first championship. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen somebody just.
So you saying Chris Paul and the Suns didn't want it as bad?
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not going to say they didn't want it as bad. Who knows what they got going on in their head? If they wanted it more, it didn't show on the court, Mark. That's what I'm telling you. From what I saw, it looked like Giannis wanted it more. That's what it looked like to me. So whether they wanted it more or not, I don't know. But I can tell you this: from my eyes, you know what I'm saying, if I hadn't had no conversation with nobody, I'm just gonna tell you what my eyes see. And what I saw was Giannis had more of a desire and a will to win than anybody on either team. So that's what I saw, and I felt like that was the difference maker.
Okay, I hear you. That's a tough shot at Chris, though. I mean,
did Chris come up short, Mark?
Well, he did come up short, but I mean,
I'm not saying he played bad. That's what I mean. He did come up short. It just is what it is. Do you think it's because of his skill level? Do you feel like he did something wrong? Like, why do you think Chris Paul came up short, Mark?
I think. Well, there's several reasons to say why he came up short. Because you could say you could give it the injury factor, the fact that this dude was playing through several injuries, and the fact he dug deep and found out and the fact that he's older and he dug deep and found like a strong pocket to power through and put up some phenomenal games. But at some point that well was going to run out, or at least it was going to start to falter.
Yeah, yes. Now I understand that. I understand that.
Hey, it's like the Fast and the Furious. It's like the Fast and the Furious thing. Like he hit the Nas too early. Like,
hey, look, man. Monica. Hey, yo, man. Somebody need to turn that into a GIF, yo. With Chris Paul face on that shit, man. Anyway, but but I get what you're saying though. Like, this is the thing. Like, this is the thing. Giannis. I guess the way I see it is this: if Giannis didn't play the way he did, they wouldn't have won.
Yeah, that's facts.
And that's the bottom line when it comes down to that. Giannis, like I think I told you this earlier, but I've seen performances.
Well, I can say this because I mean Giannis is by far the best player in this series. But I can say this, that if the entire team, like if all the main players of the Milwaukee Bucks, if they didn't play the way they played over the next I would say the last 3 games, then they wouldn't have won that series.
Yeah, well, they to me, Mark, they were feeding off of Giannis's energy. I
Right?
felt like, see, when they talk about when people try to get this fake shit, uh, oh, Kawhi's he leads by example by his play on the court. No, I remember I told you, just because he's quiet don't mean that he's just the leader on the court. He's not Tim Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I feel like Giannis did in this series was he led by example. He brought the energy. He created that environment. You know what I mean? If you watch any of the behind the scenes and him talking in the locker room and all this stuff, he was the inspiration for
Um,
that team.
I mean, we saw him. We saw him in his 41 point performance where they lost in game 2. He was banging on the chair, rallying the troops like he was wilding
That's what I'm
out.
saying.
So
I feel like they fed off of his passion. This is what I was talking about, the will to win and the passion, and you know what I'm saying, and that hunger, man. Like that's what changed the tide. Like you get beat 2-0, you get beat 2-0, you're down 2-0. Yeah, everybody has the mentality, well, we're gonna go back home, so we're gonna win. You know what I mean? Or we got to win this game coming back home. Everybody's a little bit not too not too concerned, but
hmm
at the same time, it's like that's a game they have to win. And Giannis is showing up to these games like, yo, we cannot go home without a dub. Like he was very passionate about it. And we seen Mike Budenholzer's pregame pep talks. Okay, we seen that firsthand. So it wasn't him, Chris Christopher Clark. I'm calling you out by name. It was not Mike Budenholzer.
Whoa.
We're just gonna get that straight. Like,
Whoa.
I might be getting ahead of myself. We're gonna get to that later. But
Yeah.
what I will say is Giannis's energy, everything that Giannis did, it came to fruition. And the people that before said he wasn't as vocal as a leader and he wasn't doing as much as they wanted him to do inside the locker room, off the court, on the court as a leader. He did all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And more. And to me, he goes up higher on my list of talents by a long shot. He jumps a lot of people just based off of the fact that I know that even though he won this chip and he won it this way, there's two things that's going to happen with Giannis. He's going to remember it. He's going to remember how he did it. And he's still going to look to improve his game.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, there's a difference, man. And do you want to get into this AD comparison thing?
Do I want to get into the AD comparison? Sure.
As far as just who's who's better? I'll ask two questions. Who's better, and who would you? Who's better, and who would you rather have on your team?
Well,
because I feel like there are two different questions that can have two different answers.
All right. Well, okay, that is very true because here's the thing. Anthony Davis is the superior talent. He is the superior basketball talent. He has more tools in his toolbox than Giannis Antetokounmpo when it comes to basketball skills. Now, when it comes to physical gifts, Giannis, I would say, edges him, but not by a whole lot. But when it comes to pure physical gifts, Giannis does edge AD. And although I'm saying it's not by a whole lot, I would still say it's by a considerable margin that you notice. Um, but and I would take Giannis over AD because of attitude towards the game, attitude towards how you approach things. Like, B, I'm not a fan of passive play, like the way of passive approaches to certain things. And I feel as though AD's approach to the game is more passive than Giannis's. Is that fair to say?
It is. I think that's a very fair assessment and an accurate one. I feel like we've seen enough from both of them to see that, and I just want to remind people, Giannis is 26.
Yeah, but I feel as though it's very important for to put that in perspective that AD is still more gifted than Giannis is in basketball skills. Because I mean he's been playing, but that may be purely because he's been playing the game his whole life. He wasn't playing soccer, and other, you know what I mean. Like he's been playing the game his whole life. He's been developing his game longer and stuff like that. That could be just purely off of that and no other reason. But I feel as though that's what it is.
Okay, so yeah, I do like the answers. Like, so, see, to me, if you would have asked me the same question 2 years ago, I would have told you that AD is the better player, and he's the player I'd rather have on my team. But I might have given you that answer last year,
right?
But this year, I don't think I'm being prisoner of the moment by saying that. By saying that Giannis is the person that I would go with, and as of right now, he might even be the better player, or there's at least an argument right now, and I'm basing that off of the intangibles that Giannis brings to the table, and so right now the reason why I'm looking at this differently is because in the beginning of the season, or towards the middle of the season, me and you both mentioned AD's conditioning. We mentioned AD's him being injury prone. We mentioned AD looking basically like he has since his first 2 seasons in the league. Physically, it doesn't look like, when you look at Giannis right now, he didn't look like that 3 years ago. He didn't look like that 4 years ago.
But that's what would make your assessment then correct. Things have changed. Giannis is not the same player he was 2 years ago.
Yes, and it's such every year he makes so many improvements.
In my opinion, Giannis isn't the same play. Giannis in the finals wasn't the same player he was in the regular, in parts of the regular season.
And that's 100%. Like I feel you. So what I'm saying is, like, I already felt a certain way about AD after seeing him with LeBron and with the Lakers the first season he was there last season. I already felt a certain way about what I saw. It came to fruition this year. And once again, Mark, like I said, I feel like he's not taking care of himself. I don't feel like he's taking care of his body. I don't think he's conditioning himself properly. But I also think because he's AD, nobody tells him. Nobody says anything to him. Nobody's going to go up to AD and tell him he needs to work on his game. Nobody's going to go up to AD and tell him he needs to be in better physical condition. How do you go to somebody who's damn near a 7-footer that has point guard skills, that can shoot and do everything on the court? How are you going to go to him and tell him, you know what, there's a few things you can improve on?
Hey, LeBron told him that he could improve on getting rid of the unibrow in the Looney Tunes versus the Monster game. He told him that. He told him how to improve on something.
If that ain't the goddamn cauldron pot, whatever, calling something another black, LeBron talk about somebody's facial hairs or somebody's hair. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'll take that criticism from LeBron.
Hey.
But
hey,
look, I'm just saying I wouldn't take that criticism from LeBron. But with that said, somebody has to talk to him, but the great ones don't need anybody to come talk to them. They just do it.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, like that's the way I see it. Giannis it's going to continue to grow at a rapid rate. He eventually has to plateau somewhere, Mark. I don't know where, but he eventually has to plateau. But yes, no, he's. I think it's an argument for him being a better player, but I absolutely would take Giannis. And in another, like I said, availability.
The best ability is availability.
Availability is huge, man. And if I feel like you're not doing everything to prevent injury, then that's a problem for me. I don't care how great you are, Mark. If you can't play, how great was it for the Nets when everybody was fucking hurt? You know what I mean? How great was it when Kyrie was down again for injury? How great was that? Mm-hmm. And I thought Kyrie had by far the best season this was the least criticized season that I had for Kyrie Irving since he's been playing ball. Fantastic. He wasn't there when they needed him. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So like, no, man. So that has to count for something. So yeah. But yeah, no, Giannis is definitely I think he has put his stamp on it, if you will. I think people are going to stop disrespecting him. You have people like me that always was like, well, I need to see more. I'm done. I've seen enough, Mark. Yeah. I've seen enough. You know what I'm saying?
This was the performance that shuts everybody up. That says, like, yo, if you still out here critiquing, like, what, now you're just a hater. Like,
I don't care. See, my problem was his game before was getting stopped because he was lacking in other areas. And you see him have a game where he gets 18 points, and you're like, well, what the fuck is going on? All they did was force you to shoot a jump shot or get you off of the spots. They didn't let you get to the spots on the court that you wanted to get to. And that was it. You got shut down. That's why I was so heavy on the criticisms of him not having those particular skill sets. Well, he found a way to work around that. So I don't care whether you can shoot or not. I care about you getting 18 points in the game versus 30. You know what I'm saying? And he found a way to consistently get his points regardless of how he did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, it didn't matter that he wasn't out there knocking down all these jumpers. Like, it didn't matter because he could get a shot. If you could get your shot, I don't care how you get it. If you're going to average, like you said, 35 points a game at 61% shooting, I don't care how you get it.
Right. Now, listen, I'm just going to rail off a few numbers here, like about Giannis, and then I'm going to ask you a question. So, but it's separate to this. I just want to make sure that people that don't know, that we get this out here, that Giannis at 26 is in the, as far as accomplishments, he's accomplished just about everything. He's the 2-time MVP of the league, defensive player of the year, finals MVP, and he has a title, and you know, I don't know how many All-Star appearances, but the only thing that he is missing from his major accolades at this point is a scoring title. Like, that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only major accolade that he's missing at this point. Outside of that, he's already done it all at 26. Like, you know what I mean? So Giannis statistically is already in a elite category that very few could follow.
Yeah. Yes, and as far as the scoring title thing, let's be honest here. There's only like 2 people stopping him from getting that. And that's James Harden and Steph Curry. There's only 2 people that are stopping him from getting that shit. So I mean, you know, shout out to Bradley Beal this year though. He was one of those people this year, but I don't foresee Bradley Beal continuing to put up those types of numbers every season. But
you can't have Russ as your point guard every season, so you know.
You know, teams don't like Russ. You know, they just pass him around. But yeah.
I'm just saying, you
tis what it is.
It is what it is. But somehow players be be accomplishing things that they never accomplished before when they would rest. It's weird.
Look,
it's weird. I don't know.
Look, hey, look.
It's weird.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is weird. I'm just saying. But all I'm saying is, you know, Giannis is always going to be in that top 3 for scoring. You know, so he's going to have a chance every season to win a scoring title. And now that I've seen this side of Giannis, I believe it will matter to him now. Before, he was just like, look, I'm just here to play the game. He's humble, all this stuff. You know, it wasn't humble Giannis that was on the court in the finals.
Hey, no, it wasn't. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But listen, we'll get to that. But listen, before we get to any of that, Chris. Chris, I'm with you, sir. I gotta call this man to the podium, and we got some questions to ask this man because this man, where does your? I'm gonna start with this. Where does your disdain for Mike Budenholzer come from?
My disdain, I wouldn't say disdain. I would say disappointment.
Okay.
It's a difference between this. Like, my disdain is for those that keep telling me that he's a great coach. My disappointment comes directly from him. He was a coach that was on the coaching staff with the Spurs. He was a protege of Greg Popovich. He left. He went to the Atlanta Hawks, and he's the one who turned them into a team that was consistently going into the NBA playoffs. Let's be honest. A lot of time, not just going into the NBA playoffs, they were going in there as a top 3 seed.
Okay.
They were in there literally. They were one of those teams that maybe would have made it to the finals if it wasn't for LeBron in Cleveland.
Sounds like a good coach.
So, yes, sounds like a great coach. You know, then he goes to the Bucks and turns that team around too. You know, definitely. I was like, man, this guy's good. And then it's like he hit a wall. He hit a wall, Mark.
Okay.
And I excused him for that. I was like, okay, you hit a wall. You had a nice little system. Giannis is doing his thing, and I would say that my disappointment began with them losing to the Raptors in the fashion that they did when Kawhi beat them, when the Toronto Raptors beat them. When I say Kawhi, I can say Kawhi beat them. All Kawhi did was pick up Giannis at half court and then the game, and then that was it. They just ran the table. Like, glass cannon, Mark.
Okay.
What he was doing was coaching up a glass cannon.
Well,
and then, but I expected so that was fine. But I expected the next season to be different. And I did not see the adjustments the next season. And that's what my problem was. This year, I'll say this, he made the adjustments that he needed to make in the playoffs. And he made the adjustments that he needed to make in the finals, even more adjustments.
Okay.
And albeit minor adjustments, Mark. Albeit minor adjustments. He made adjustments. It doesn't matter. He made adjustments that work, Mark.
Okay.
But at the same time, none of that shit matters if Giannis doesn't play the way he did.
Whoa.
I can't give Mike Budenholzer his credit. I can't give him credit for the way Giannis played.
Well, listen. No.
I can't do that. I can't give him credit for Giannis's performances.
No. Listen.
So he gets some credit, Mark, but he's not. Okay, we're not doing this.
No, listen. Listen. One, I'm not going to jump out the window and say Mike understand, because I need to get this out the way because people tend to like to hang on to a particular word that is said and ignore the overall point. So I'm going to say this first. I am not saying Mike Budenholzer is more responsible for the win than Giannis. I'm not saying that Mike Budenholzer is the pivotal everything to how things played out. But I will say this. If you can't discredit Mike Budenholzer and say his slight adjustments. particularly in the finals, you can't say slight adjustments. You just can't. You
I
can't.
need you to explain to me
You
why I
cannot.
can't.
You want
I
to
need
know?
you to explain to me why I can't.
You want to know why? Because
Okay.
if you look at the stats from games 1 and 2, like just look at the shooting
I
numbers.
know what it looked like.
Yeah, okay. And look at the stats from 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like totally different totally different. The fact, do you think Chris Middleton just decided on his own, I'm going to stop chucking up threes every 5 seconds? You think he did that all on his lonesome?
No, he didn't.
Oh, all
No,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Slight adjustment. Continue.
Slight adjustment.
Continue.
Slight
Continue.
adjustment.
Continue. Slight adjustment. Go ahead.
This dude was taking 15 shots, 15 threes a game, and it's a slight adjustment from 15 to 4.
Maybe
and
he
that's a
just
slight
woke up and
adjustment.
realized maybe he woke up and realized he was harming the team, Mark. I don't know. Continue.
Okay.
Continue.
And, and second and next, the fact of the matter, do you think that it was Giannis that said, "Hey, the ball will be less in my hands. We're going to get more ball movement, and when I move under the rim, you find me." You think Giannis took that under, or you think he did that on his own? He said that to the team on his own, like, nah, like less in my hands and just find me under the basket.
Nope. Good adjustment by Mike. Good adjustment.
So like these are two major adjustments because they went from ISO play, they went from a lot of ISO play, a lot of ISO outside play to playing a more complete team oriented game. And they started playing inside out. Those are major adjustments. And that's actually a complete flip of philosophy. Like in mid series. Like so you can't say that.
I mean, look, I would say as a result of it, Giannis's assist totals were going up too. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Giannis, because he was able to, because he was playing off the ball, he was able to have more success against DeAndre Ayton. Even at times, he was bullying DeAndre Ayton. I mean, but it definitely played in his favor to not be spotted with the ball at the top of the key.
That's another. That's another thing, particularly with DeAndre Ayton. Do you think that was Giannis undertaking to, like, all on his own to be like, look, I need to be in a position to where I prevent that pass. Like they basically took the Ayton play out of the game, like where that ball movement and to where they find Ayton under the basket. They essentially took that away.
I will say this. Mike Budenholzer gets full credit for whatever happened on defense as a team. And I thought that's where I will give him 1,000% credit. His for the way he coached the team defensively was masterful. And it wasn't just individuals playing great. It was great team defense being played. So look, you're not gonna get an argument from me when it comes to the defensive side of the ball with Mike. He definitely showed his ass on that one. He definitely did his thing on that.
Like I can't exactly explain it as well because I'm not like, the savviest of basketball minds. But what I do know is that Ayton was killing teams throughout the playoffs with the ball move, like with Chris Paul.
Because nobody was paying attention to him and nobody cared what he was doing.
Yeah.
So yes, there was a clear emphasis put on keeping the ball from out of his hands, like off the ball defense.
Right.
Hey, play passing lanes, all these other things, because and that's a good point that you're making, Mark, because the thing is, guys like DeAndre Ayton, one of the reasons why people thought that they didn't know about him coming out of college and how he would do is because the NBA had changed and they were worried about his speed. They were worried about his ball handling ability as a big. He's not going to have the ball handling skills that you would want for a stretch big. So you can't give DeAndre Ayton the ball on the wing and tell him to score because he has to put the ball on the ground. You can't. You especially can't tell him to do that if he's got Giannis guarding him. You can't. I don't even think you could do that. You could tell him to do that if he has if he has not Robin. Excuse me. Woo! Almost got disrespectful. Brook Lopez. he probably think he might not even be able to do it with Brook Lopez on him. So I understand what their philosophy is. It's like, yo, he was eating off of shit like Clint Capella.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Defense is distracted by the star players. All he has to do is slip through the back door. You know what I'm saying? Slide down the lane. That's a lob. So easy. It's an easy lob, easy putback. You know, tip in, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He would just disappear behind the defense, and they made sure his ass wasn't disappearing. You know, so. No, it's definitely Mike. That's Mike. Okay. How about this, Mark? How about this? You made some very good points. You made some very good points. All right, Mike has to get. Let me put this, and this is what I didn't tell you before we even started this. Even though I'm being hard on Mike right now, I've seen more coaching in this series from Mike Budenholzer than I've seen from Steve Kerr in any of his finals appearances. Does that sound? I know it sounds disrespectful, Mark, but is it true? Is it true though?
Listen, I'm not.
You know what? Maybe how about this? How about this? Maybe Steve Kerr gets a pass because he didn't need to make the adjustments, right? Maybe.
Yeah. I'm not going.
I don't know.
I'm not the one to answer this. I'm not the one to answer this. So what I'm going to do is say Damian Williams and Ricky Scott. When you listen to this or you hear this, feel free to comment and engage Shawn on this particular topic.
Yeah, they definitely they will not go silently into the night. So I'm sure I got some smoke coming my way. So
yeah, I listen. I don't know how they feel about it, but
that might have been a shameless diss. That might have been. I don't know, man. I don't know. Now that I think about it, that shit kind of sounds like hate to me. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Don't backtrack now, brother.
Oh no! I stand on that shit. 10 toes, baby. Look, I stand on that shit.
All right.
You know, it's a name brand. I guarantee it. You know, like no, like no.
Listen, man.
No, I definitely like. I feel like that's a true statement. So I mean, whatever smoke come behind that, that's cool.
Okay, but like overall, man, I feel as though it was interesting to me because what I saw differently in this was what I essentially saw in this series was I watched Phoenix play like all the things that I was just talking about. They had excellent ball movement, all that, and they were hitting their outside shots. Booker was on and stuff like that. And then it was like what it kind of looked like to me in the end was that Milwaukee said, "Oh, we're going to take what you do, and we're going to stop you from doing it."
Like, absolutely is what happened.
Like they was like, "We're going to start doing what you're doing, and now we're going to stop you from doing it." Because all of a sudden I saw a lot more ISO from Phoenix in those last 3 games than I should have. Like I was like, why is that? I was like, where's all the ball movement that was in game 1 and 2? Like what happened to all that ball movement? The ball stopped. The ball became stagnant. Like it was turnover city out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Drew Holiday, who had Devin Booker taking all these off kilter shots. Like,
Hey, that boy Drew. Yeah, he was clutch, man. Hey, so like I don't know what to tell you, man. He applied pressure. Like that's it. Everybody want to talk about Mamba mentality too, until it's time to be Kobe, man.
listen,
Like,
nah, that was a Kobe performance. Don't.
oh no, now we do it. Oh man, no, that's what. Oh man, now you're really trying to have people come looking for me, man.
Yo,
You
no,
know, I
nah,
look.
they gonna come for me on that one.
Yeah,
But listen,
yeah. I hope they understand what your voice sounds like versus
but
mine.
listen. There's that, but unfortunately, like Kobe was great, but there are stats that back up that Kobe had nights like Devin Booker had this finals. So it is what it is.
Hmm.
Like you know what I'm saying, but that was just a little side piece. I'm not willing to get into an argument about it. So
No, I get you, Like I'm not me personally. I'm not trying to go there either. But like I said, it's one of those things where sometimes you and I'm just gonna point out what the stats were for game 6. Devin Booker,
mhm.
19 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 0 for 7 from 3.
Trash.
But you made mention of why.
Yeah.
It's because the way he was being played.
Mhm.
And then he was 8 for 22 from the field.
Yeah.
You live by the gun, you die by the gun. And I'm not saying just 3-pointer, I'm saying the gun, because Devin Booker's the gun. You know, and what I learned about this was through this series, through the comeback from the Bucks, is so much of the offense was dependent on Booker getting his shots and getting his looks. Chris Paul can only do so much. Notice when Booker struggled, Chris Paul was still able to do what he could do. You know, he's going to find a way to get those points efficiently, no matter what. And he's going to find ways to get other guys involved. But these crazy, not I'm going to say crazy, I'm going to say these performances that we saw in the past with DeAndre Ayton, these performances we saw in the past from Cameron Payne, Mikal Bridges, that shit, I saw a direct correlation to when Booker ain't getting his shit off or Booker's uncomfortable to those guys not getting their points.
But like I said, but I think all that has to do with the fact that the ball movement stopped. These guys were able to get involved in the play because the ball was moving and rotating, and when it got to them and they had a window, they could do their thing. But but the ball movement stopped, and it was like it was a disjointed effort. There was less flow to their offense.
Well, it's because they did something that is just a fucking forgotten art. It's called off the ball defense.
Right.
Which requires you to follow a person around and not just stand on a spot on the court. So yes, the off the ball defense is what caused it. What I'm saying is they cut the head off and the body died. You know, but even then, I don't even know how accurate that is. Didn't we watch Devin Booker put up 43?
Yeah.
He went ape shit that game.
And it was Chris that fell off.
What
was that, game 5?
Well, they lost that game. The Suns lost that game.
Yeah, I'm talking about game 5, game 4, whatever.
Yeah, game 4. Game 4. Yeah. Yeah, but I was like, it didn't matter. Like, but yeah, they definitely did. That was a great team defense situation. So the great team defense, and then if they're gonna play that great of team defense, Devin Booker has to score in the 40s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is where it shows that you don't have another superstar You know, you have Chris Paul, who wasn't at 100%, but this is where it shows. This is where you want that other superstar. This is where you want that other marquee player to come in and be able to get you that 30. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Suns looked like a team that a lot of young promising players, but though you can't expect those young promising players to be those guys in those moments.
Right.
So yeah. I don't even think the Suns played bad.
Yeah.
I thought the Suns did what they could. So
okay. But speaking of, Mike, speaking of the adjustments and everything, I mean, so just to wrap that up, essentially, you owe Mike Budenholzer a little bit of an apology.
Oh, come on, bro. That's what you doing today? Look, okay. I'm gonna have one moment of truth here, Mark.
Look. Listen, one thing we know is that I go in, and then if I'm wrong, I get on this platform and I own my shit. So
look, like I said, I only gonna give you one moment of honesty here, Mark. Okay. One moment, and this is what I'll say.
Okay.
This might not be an apology, okay? But it'll be a compliment that makes up for it. Mike Budenholzer showed up, and he essentially outcoached the coach of the year.
Okay. Fair enough. Enough.
That's about as close as an apology you're gonna get from me. I will not apologize to Mike. Sorry, but
that's fair. That's fair. But speaking of the coach of the year, he continues to prove exactly why he is the coach of the year, because he's kept going with his class act routine, and this is just genuinely who he is. He goes to congratulate the Milwaukee Bucks, and he speaks poetically in defeat of the Milwaukee Bucks while talking to them. He doesn't just shake their hand. He speaks poetically.
Take away from, I just wanted to come and congratulate you guys as a man, as a coach. You guys deserve it, and I'm thankful for the experience. You guys made me a better coach. You made us a better team. Congratulations.
Monty, now that you've been through your first finals, can you process what you've learned from it, or is that going to take a while?
I think it's going to take me a minute, I just don't take it for granted. It's hard to get here, and I wanted it so bad, It's hard to process right now. It's hard, That's all.
Thank you, Coach.
He speaks about how they have made him a better coach, and he has made their team a better team in defeat, which is great. And honestly, it is a sportsman thing to do. It is a very, very class act thing to do. But although Bonnie Williams decided to take the high road in this particular case, there was a little bit of an about face by Giannis after winning this championship, because it seemed to me like he pulled out the shotgun and let it blast, because in his post game interview, he was talking about he got it out the mud, and that all that super team shit is trash and garbage, and anybody that's a part of it ain't shit. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's essentially what I heard.
No, obviously, I wanted to get the job done. But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. I could go. I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but I could go to a super team and just do my part and win a championship, still one. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way I chose to do it, and we did it. Fucking did it. We did it, man.
Jim on the front right.
Mwah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what I'll say. It's funny, man. I watched him. He seemed very excited about the championship. He felt good about it. He wanted to talk about how he felt, Mark. And in the moment, he felt accomplished and he wanted to tell people why. He felt accomplished because he got out the mud, essentially. He said, I'm stubborn. That's what he said. It's a stubbornness in him. He said, I could have went, and could have joined other people. And then, like, it's like he had a moment, Mark, where he started to say how he really felt. It expressed it exactly how he felt. And then right at the end, he softened the blow. Because that man was about to either name teams or name names, Mark. He was this close. He was this fucking close, man. He said, I could have, joined some other people or, teamed up with, I'm not going to do that. Hold on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I could have done the whole super team thing, but I was like, yeah, you watch yourself, Giannis, man. You can't go get a chip, have everybody have love from everybody, and then go start saying shit about, like, they love you now. They love you a lot. They don't love you like they love KD, brother. Don't do it. Do not do it. They do not love you like they do KD. They do not love you like they do Kyrie Irving. They do not love you the way that they love LeBron, bro. Do not say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to him for catching himself. But oh yeah, Mark, it's very clear how I think he made it very clear how he feels. And now I don't know. I don't think he was doing it to talk down on those guys, but I definitely believe he felt like
he don't respect their process.
I'm not gonna say he don't respect it.
No,
he feels like his championship means more than theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what like. He feels like, and I agree with him.
Listen,
hold on. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Real quick, this is his direct quote. It says, "We might never win another one, and it's fine. We did it. We did what we were supposed to do, and I'd rather do it this way, win one this way, than go somewhere else in a super team and win 2 or 3." That's just one of his comments. That's just one part of his comments. He does have another quote, and I'm going to see if I can find that as well. But continue. You asked me what now? You said, how do I feel?
I was saying about the quality of this championship, like, because I feel like not all championships were created equal.
No, they're not.
For Giannis's ring that he has right now, compared to the rings that were won over the last 10 years, Mark, which would include, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2021 right now, right? So yeah, it would include the Dirk Nowitzki Mavs title in that group. Out of the titles that have been won in the last 10 years, where would you rank this one for like an individual players? Like how much it means to that individual star? Like, do you think, like, where does LeBron's rings add up, and where does KD, Steph's rings? Like I said, I'm gonna throw Dirk's name in there because he was in there. Where does
well, you
Tim Duncan / Kawhi's ring?
Like to be clear, I 100% agree that not all rings are equal, because I feel as though Detroit's ring over the Lakers super team, it means more than a lot of rings. Like that team was like, you could say what you want about Karl Malone being older and Gary Payton being older or whatever.
I would remind people, Karl Malone averaged 20 points a game the previous season.
Right.
He wasn't that damn old.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And it was still with Kobe and Shaq. Like, come on.
Yeah,
now.
and the type of player that GP was, you could sit here and say that Rondo was old, and Rondo just helped the Lakers win a championship. And GP at that stage of his career was like Rondo. He was an older guy, savvy point guard who could still run the point. And, maybe he could only average you 15 points in a game or 12 points in a game, but he was still a floor general that could play defense. So like, I don't like the way people discredit that team, but
right.
No, I feel you. Like
some championships do mean more. And I'm not a LeBron James fan, but I do feel as though his Cleveland championship means more than his other championships. I mean, that was a 72-10 team. Like that, dog, you came out and did what you had to do.
They switched their head coach halfway through the season, Mark. Like they switched their head coach halfway through the season. That man Ty Lue didn't even coach a whole season that year. Right. They were still making changes during the year. Like that was a crazy ass thing. Yeah.
So like I feel as though that means more. I don't think it means as much as LeBron wants to put on it, but it does mean more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think he jumps out the window with how much credit he wants to give it, but that's that. But anyway,
I'm not gonna go into any quotes today with that. Yeah. But I'll say this: like, it will until somebody does something else, it will forever be the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history. So that does mean something. So
it does mean something. It does.
It means a lot.
It means a lot. It means a lot. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I'll say that. Yes, it means a lot. So yeah, I would say just out of the ones we just talked about, to me, I'll put the Detroit Pistons championship above everything, just because they were up against insurmountable odds, essentially, and they didn't just win; they dominated. They embarrassed the Lakers. Okay. And they seemingly like stopped dead in the tracks and an offensive force. Like when the Lakers have a game where they score 78 points in a fucking NBA Finals with, I don't give a fuck who was washed up. They still had Kobe and Shaq.
Exactly. That shit.
You know what I'm saying? Kobe and Shaq by themselves could give you 78. Right. Okay. I'm not letting that shit off the hook. Mark.
But that's what I'm talking about. But it's perfect that you bring that up, because that's what I'm talking about when I talk about the fact that
Kobe having those types of games.
Exactly. So there goes the point of reference for those that want to challenge me on that. But I do want. We have a lot more to get into, so I'm going to cut that a little short. And I do want to ask you this. Do you think, given the way that he did it, do you think that we will start to see a curtailment of people trying to form Voltron, and we'll start to see more people try to get it off of the strength?
I don't think so. I think
legitimately, if you go into timelines, you have people that will now say Giannis gets more credit than KD ever does because of the way that he got it.
Yes. But I don't believe, we have to see how this conversation goes, though. Now, you got to also understand that he's going to get more credit than KD in a scenario like this because of all of his individual accolades. because of the defensive player of the year shit, because of the MVP, you know what I mean? Because of those things, he's going to have more individual accolades, you know, when it's all said and done. Giannis is sure to win another defensive player of the year. It's just, you know what I mean? Like his individual resume is going to look better. And if you tell me in the end, oh, well, Katie has 2 rings and Giannis has 1, if that's the only advantage that he has over Giannis, and we're talking about somebody who's an offensive player, who's first team offense, you know, all NBA offense, and then he's also winning defensive player of the years and winning MVPs, then I'm going to tell you that 1 ring does not make up for all the other individual accolades and individual ways that Giannis is better. Yeah. So Giannis' situation is slightly different. Well, but what I say is this, Mark. The only thing that I think you will see, which has already been happening, Mark, is you'll see guys like Devin Booker wait until their contract is about to expire. You remember some of these guys before were like a year or 2 out, was like, yo, I'm not trying to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers wasn't waiting even until their first contract even expired for them to express that they wanted to go. I think, you know, Devin Booker had been quiet about it. There have been a lot of rumors swirling about whether or not the Bucks would try to make a move for him over this past offseason. And you know what I'm saying? And right now, Devin Booker might have been thinking about moving elsewhere, but Devin Booker is probably going to stay put just because of the promise that the team has shown now. What I'm telling you, the only thing that is going to change, Mark, is if the team shows promise within that superstar, that young superstar's, you know, first contract, you'll start to see these superstars say, you know what, I'll give it a couple extra years. Okay. Like, I think you'll see them maybe sign a short-term, you know, 1 year, 2 year deal, extension of some sort to give their, you know, franchise, their drafting franchise, another shot if they feel like, hey, we're on the cusp. But if you're, let's say you're like, trying to think of a good example. But if you're a Dame Lillard and you're playing like that, and it's like not close enough to the cusp, you're gonna see those types probably try to leave. I mean, Dame Lillard is built different, but I think if you put somebody else in those shoes, they would have left.
Right. Now,
any other superstar. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think it's gonna give guys that 1 or 2 extra years to say, I'll see what the franchise does.
Yeah. Okay. The reason why I ask that is because, well, we know that a lot of the formations of super teams is due to legacy chasing. Like they're chasing their legacy. Like shit, you don't mean as much as a player unless you got a ring. I mean, look at all the like you and I were talking earlier about all the disrespect Charles Barkley gets, and it's simply because that man doesn't have a ring, even though he is probably top 3 ever to play that position.
Yeah.
So, but he gets all the disrespect because it never amounted to a ring. So a lot of the super teams are formed because of how they want their legacy because of how players would like their legacy to be viewed in history. But if it starts to matter with how you get that ring, if that starts to be part of the conversation, and if you being a part of a super team starts to be part of the conversation to where like, oh, well, that's a knock on that ring that you have, you might see less guys wanting to go form super teams.
Yeah, but I think there's one more step that has to happen before that ultimately happens. And the one more step that has to happen is, to be honest, is we have to see one more super team win the chip. We got to see one more superstar win their first chip. by joining a super team. Meaning, let's say James Harden gets his first ring with the Nets and they win. We would have to see what the response is to that, because, you know, the response to the Lakers dub last year was, although some people, you know, people talked about the bubble, the asterisks, everything. A lot of people were impressed. A lot of people gave them credit.
But that wasn't legitimately. That wasn't a super team. That
no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it was. But what I'm saying is, people are giving AD credit for that ring.
No, but I'm saying he deserves credit for that ring.
No.
I understand.
I understand what you're trying. What you're saying. What I'm trying to say is this, Mark. If a young player who's considered a superstar can team up with another superstar, and they're not going to get knocked for it, then they're going to do it. So,
okay. Well,
so even though there's three on the Nets, what I'm trying to tell you is, I think we need to see how they respond to that. If the Nets win one, we need to see how they respond to it, because if they give the Nets the same amount of respect that they gave the Heat when they finally won, or the same amount of respect that they gave the Warriors after they put KD on the team, then those guys are still going to chase that, because they're going to be like, okay, it's a little bit of a knock, but it ain't enough of a knock to deter me. You know what I mean? I think it's going to take people looking at 3 rings for KD versus 1 ring for Giannis and still saying Giannis's 1 might be equal to KD's 3. If that conversation starts to take place, then yes, then like, but I think the way it sits right now is, it's just, you know, it's not enough. It's not enough to sway everybody.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to think so, Mark, but I'm a skeptic, man.
That's right. Hey, so future conversation to have, because I'm just thinking about it now while we're talking, so I want to write this down. So you make a note of this as well. I want to have this conversation. Hopefully we can have it next week if things are slow enough. But I want to ask just something to think about. What makes up a super team? What quantifies a team as a super team? Like that's one. And I also want to ask, let's name some failed super teams that have existed in the NBA.
Okay, that's fair. I like those topics, man.
Yeah, so because right now in my head I'm thinking of 3. And so that have flat out failed and didn't work out. So
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing, that like people chase the super team, but the super team isn't always guaranteed. So it's interesting. But anyway, Milwaukee just won a championship. The Milwaukee Bucks just won a championship, and after 50 years. And now it looks like the way things are going, it may be another 50 years before they win another one in the NFL, because things are falling apart in Green Bay. And I don't know what to say, man. Listen, you Shawn had some very interesting words about this one. So I'm going to let you take the lead here and just let's talk about it, man. What's going on in Green Bay, brother?
Well, let's just go ahead and get to the fucking facts first, you know. Apparently it's been no secret that Aaron Rodgers has not been happy with the way that the organization has been handling him and the way that the coaching staff has been handling him. So with that said, you know, it's been 2 years, and the word on the street is they offered this man, I'm not gonna say he offered him, he turned down a 2-year, $120 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers is not playing with these fools, man. They trying to give him hush money. They try to get a man hush money so he can shut up and play ball, and he don't want to do it. So, I don't know what the hell's wrong with the Packers organization. They must not want to fucking win. Like the arrogance, man, the sheer arrogance of the way they've treated this man, the way they've gone about the structuring of the team. Aaron Rodgers is gotten to a point in his career where he's staring down the barrel of the same conundrum that John Elway ran into at the end of his career. John Elway played a lot of years and getting very far into the playoffs and get into Super Bowls before he had to be like 35 and realize, you know what, man? I might need a fucking running back. I might need some help. I can't do it all by myself. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers has been at the point where he's like, look, man, I'll keep trying, but damn it, I need receivers. Like, I'm great, but nobody can do it without receivers. He's come to that conclusion apparently a few years before the Packers want to. So right now, Mark, what I said earlier was, I feel like what Aaron Rodgers is doing is necessary. This is the first time that I've seen a notable superstar that wants out, especially at the quarterback position, that wants out, that's kind of forcibly making sure they get out, but instead of making themselves look bad, he's making the organization look bad, Mark. Because the second he decided to play ball with the new coach and go with the system for 2 years, that was it. You guys wanted him to bow down and you guys wanted him to just play ball, and he did that. You know, the results are the results. And now you have the whole league talking about it, how they're doing Aaron Rodgers a disservice. You know what I mean? Everybody said this. You know, everybody, it's what's going on in mainstream media. You know, people killed them for the is it Jordan Love draft pick? You know, yeah, there's like, now you guys are starting to embarrass yourself. You can't put on Aaron Rodgers no more. So and then for him to make it public, because you know that came from his camp, that he turned down the 122 years. For him to go about it in this way, it's really putting the Packers organization in a bad light. And I'm just happy to see somebody that has problems with an organization that plays quarterback that's willing to buck the system, because a lot of times these quarterbacks, they're company men. So even when things go bad and they want to leave, they'll make sure it's amicably so that they don't tarnish these relationships that they have. But Aaron Rodgers don't give a fuck about that. So, so I like the fact that Aaron Rodgers has been very vocal about what's happening and what he likes and what he doesn't like. And I think it's great that he's out here turning down $120 million. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, in the NFL, change don't come unless the quarterbacks get on board.
Okay.
So I don't know how much this means for the future, but I'm just happy to see the Packers organization getting essentially put on blast and making, you know, and he's pointing out the fact that they're just being dumb.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that would be fair. I would just say this about what's going on there, though. It's been, like, to add to what you're talking about, it's been what, 4 years at least since Aaron Rodgers first made it known that he would like another receiver.
Yeah, and if you want to date that goes back to the year that Jordy Nelson had a bad injury and was gone for most of the year.
Well, so it's been quite a while where he was like, look, I need, like, I have my Robin, but I need my Alfred too, or, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like,
yeah,
essentially
like,
what he's saying, he's like, I'm Batman and I got Robin, but I need my Red Hood. That's probably a better,
yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like,
yeah.
I got my Nightwing. Can I get my Robin? Like, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, I need
I need somebody else got to join the team, man.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's essentially what he said. And what's interesting is that every time he said this, Green Bay was like, "Yo, we can't give you a Robin, but we could give you Jim Gordon." Like,
Don't do that, man. He said Jim Gordon. Hey, that's fun. Hey, man. First off, nah, you're not gonna do my man Jim Gordon better. Like, you got I guess, Mark, it's equivalent. Jim Gordon's like, look, man, my hands are tied by the law. I just work within the confines. Like, I'll be a little bit of help, but I'm not really gonna do anything for you. You
right?
know
You know
what I
what I'm
mean?
saying? Like, they giving you you're not giving him what he wants. He asked for a wide receiver, and you're like, well, here's here's an offensive lineman. And he's like, that's great. I needed an offensive lineman, but did I need 4 of them? I just wanted one investment in a wide receiver early on in the draft. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, we can't give you that, but we'll give you an Alfred. And he's like, yeah, that's dope. Thanks. Cool. But I still need my Red Hood or my Robin. Can I get that? And they decide, nah, we're going to give you Jordan Love. And so at this point, he's like, all right, bro, like, I'm tapped out. You not listening. Like, the Jordan Love thing was the last straw. Like, because it's not essentially what I would like to believe, that it's less to do with them drafting for the future and having a backup plan. It was more so like, you guys, I would like to win a championship. I have Devontae Adams. Thank you. Cool. I appreciate that. I would like another guy. And instead of making a strong investment in wide receiver, you go get a quarterback early while I'm still here, instead of giving me a wide receiver.
That is a very passive aggressive threat, is what it is, Mark. Very matter of fact, kind of like, oh, you want a wide receiver? Okay, you want to make demands and shit. Bam, first round quarterback. Look, we got our coach of the future. His system is great. You know, his offensive system is great. You know, we still got some tools here. Look, man, you say you might leave. I'm just saying, well, since you said it, you know, we'll just prepare. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. We're not going to, oh, you thought we was going to go get you a wide receiver. No. This is, man, they definitely were trying to put him in his place with that. And that's what it felt like to me, Mark. It also felt like that to me. So 100%. So, and
well, that's certainly how Aaron seems to have taken it.
Well, I think it's still a chess move, because he took it that way, and then he complained about it. And then when the season started, I know it took every ounce of strength in him to not be that guy, Mark. And he went in there and he swallowed his pride, not all the way, because that motherfucker was petty. He ran that offense as vanilla as he could that year. That man, I hated the fact that everybody talked about how little interceptions he had. I was like, don't talk to me about him throwing 6 picks when this motherfucker threw 17 touchdowns. Don't talk to me when this motherfucker, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man, every time he's in trouble, he's like, I'm just going to throw it out of bounds. Like, he's like, no, we're not going to do that. But he literally ran that shit as vanilla as he possibly could. He followed them. He followed their shit and said, look, your offense don't work, man. Give me what I want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he played ball, essentially. He did what they wanted, but it was to show them that they wrong. And to me, it worked. Because the very next season, he did more of the ignoring the calls, and then these motherfuckers go to the NFC Championship game. And if you look at it, man, coaching ruined that shit. Aaron could have played better. The coaching was horrible in that shit. Time management, clock management.
And
we're not gonna, we're not gonna take this field goal. Like,
and we saw the play that Aaron gave up on. Like, he was like, nah.
Yeah, no. So I said he does take some blame on it, but at the same time, look, man, he showed why he's Aaron Rodgers. like he did. I did it your way last year. I did it my way this year. Which one looks better? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's proven his point. You know, he's definitely proven his point, and I think the Packers, you know, this is that NFL front office mentality. We will not allow the players to have any control.
Right. Well,
And that's basically what we're seeing here in Green Bay. It has nothing to do with winning. It has nothing to do with losing. It has nothing to do with money.
well,
They want Aaron Rodgers to sit his ass down.
well, essentially, it seems like they're overplaying their hand because
Absolutely.
it seems to be reverberating beyond Aaron Rodgers. Because if you look at the recent comments of Devontae Adams, Devontae essentially said, "Look, man, I don't have intentions on being here. If they don't franchise me, I'm not going to be here." Because he said before the even season started in an interview, "I would love to go play with Derek Carr again. He like our chemistry is amazing. This, that, and the third." And he said, "Nah, like, yeah, like I would, if in the future where I'll get signed next, I would love to go play with Derek Carr again." So he just so he flat out said without saying, "I don't plan on re-signing here. Don't worry about it."
Yeah. Okay. So I was doing some research here, Mark, and I'm glad that we're talking about Devontae Adams. I'm doing some research here, man, because I knew I had to look this up. So to give you an idea of how much they've been not giving this man wide receivers, if you think about the last three, what are the last three great wide receivers what are the last group of great wide receivers that Aaron Rodgers has had?
Greg Olsen, Jordy Nelson.
You said Greg Olsen?
Not Greg Olsen. Greg. Sorry.
You said Jordy Nelson. Who else?
Greg.
You talking about Greg Jennings?
Yes, Greg Jennings. Excuse me. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to say Greg Olsen. Don't kill me.
Okay. No. Okay.
I'm not Stephen A. Smith. Sorry.
Okay. You know we already talking about Devontae Adams.
Yep.
Okay. The only reason why I brought this up, Mark, because there's only 3 times since Aaron Rodgers has been on the team that they've drafted a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and Devontae Adams. I think they all turned out pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Now, at one point in time, he had those 3. Like, I think that turned out pretty good, Mark. You know what I mean? I don't know why they don't want to draft guys in the first 2 rounds of wide receiver, especially when there's a million wide receivers. Think about these drafts for the last 2 or 3 years, Mark. There have been wide receivers everywhere.
Right.
There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't have drafted wide receiver in one of these drafts. It's gross negligence. It's petty. Look, man, all I'm saying is whenever you've given them a top, like a first 2 round wide receiver, first and second round wide receiver, they've become perennial Pro Bowlers. Those have been the best teams that he's had.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, Mark. So the proof is in the pudding. They're absolutely not drafting wide receivers for him, Mark. To think that before Devontae Adams, the last time they went and got that man a receiver was Randall Cobb is crazy.
When was Randall?
That was 2011.
Where was Randall Cobb drafted?
Second round.
Oh, see, damn.
That was in 2011. That was the last time outside of Devontae Adams that they got. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So, and Devontae Adams is a second round guy too.
So yeah. So that's a little wild.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be over for Green Bay. It seems like the future's not bright for Green Bay. They won't be needing shades anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying if Aaron Rodgers leaves and then Devontae Adams follows, I think they're gonna look back on this and be like, I mean, everybody else knows you overplaying your hand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they're gonna look back on this. Hopefully they learn something from this because you're right, Mark. The reason why they were able to stay great for so many years is because they had a seamless transition from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love ain't the guy. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Whoa.
He ain't the guy.
Well, see, now that's where I can't go out the window. I can't say Jordan Love's not the guy before Jordan Love even gets to perform or show anything,
I know,
but
what I'm saying is they're gonna come on hard times. They didn't have
Yes.
to with Aaron Rodgers. I know what Aaron Rodgers looked like in college.
right.
I expected him to be a great NFL pro. Jordan Love is not somebody I expected to be a great NFL pro. So maybe he does turn out to be something, but in the meantime, he's going to struggle.
Okay.
That's just what I see, especially since they don't have the wide receivers that they should have.
Yeah. Like if they're not gonna have Devontae Adams, then it's gonna be bad. But
That's what I mean.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that though. If Aaron Rodgers walks, they're not letting Devontae Adams walk.
They're gonna franchise him.
Yeah, they're not letting that happen.
I hope he's comfortable with the franchise tag. You're right. They gotta save face, Mark, because they're gonna have egg on it. They're gonna have egg on their face at that moment.
They're gonna have egg on their face. They're gonna have egg on their face, and they're gonna have a lot of money freed up.
And their pocket's gonna be deep.
Exactly.
You're right.
So like it's not like Devontae. Like it's cool that you want to go play with Derek, but you ain't going nowhere, bro. Like just know that. Like so,
that's funny.
yeah,
that is funny though. Man, Aaron Rodgers is done. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know how this is gonna play out, where Aaron Rodgers is gonna end up, or how it's gonna be. But he's gone.
Yeah, man. He is pretty much.
He ain't playing the game no more with these fools. Like he's done.
Yeah. Now, seeing how the NFL season is gearing up, like now there's news opening up around the NFL and things, and another quarterback that just so happened to cross my feed recently was Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had an event where he was playing around with the kids, showing them running routes, this, that, and the third, and everything. And Lamar Jackson, in his quote, says, "It's better to have them kids out there having fun than playing with guns. So next year we running it back with even more fun." Talking about his event that he had, which is dope. Which is real dope. The only problem is apparently somebody had a problem with it. Shannon Sharpe had a problem with it. He says, this is Shannon Sharpe on Lamar Jackson running routes on asphalt with the fans. He says, "Lamar, you're on the verge of getting generational wealth. Why risk it? It's not worth it. Don't mess your money up, man." And it's funny, but Marquise
Scantling.
Yeah.
One of those nondescript wide receivers for the Packers, but continue.
Yeah, exactly. He said he responds to Shannon Sharpe and says because he wants to go back and be the guy that he never saw as a kid. Could change a kid's life. Bigger than chasing a check when you are a genuine person that cares about the youth. Now that is his response to Shannon Sharpe. What's your response to all this?
Oh man, that's exactly the type of response I expect from a third-tier player. So, yes, Mr. Valdez Scantling, this is the type of shit that you could do when your last name is Valdez Scantling. Okay, you could go out there, you could run your routes on the asphalt, you could give back to the community, you could be that guy that the kids look up to. Lamar Jackson wants to continue playing in this league. Lamar Jackson, I believe, he's a very humble guy. He wants to be a superstar. He wants to continue to have the influence that he has within the community. You know, he's a very great guy, you know. He does want that bag, but I'm sure judging from his character, he wants that bag so he can do more to help people.
Right.
And if he's as giving as a guy that you say he is, then yes, it is something that he should consider. And let's say let's say, and real quick, I'm going to talk. I want to mention the Shannon Sharpe shit. Shannon Sharpe only mentions the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Generational wealth. It's one thing if you're talking about a running back. This is a quarterback. I just said Aaron Rodgers turned down a 2-year, $120 million deal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The way that due to all the inflation with the quarterback prices, look, if Lamar Jackson stays healthy, he can earn probably at least $500 million over the course of his career. Right. That is generational wealth. Look, if you're talking about $30 million over the course of your career, okay, maybe you want to make that decision. Maybe the money doesn't make that much difference. You know, in a lot of other scenarios, I would say, you know, Shannon Sharpe, you got to look at more than just the money. But when we're talking about generational wealth, and we're talking about a young Black man, you know what I mean? Black people do not come upon generational wealth very often. Generational wealth in the Black community does not get passed down very often. So you have a chance for that, then yes, I do feel like you should consider the money. And then let's say, for my final point, let's say you take the money away, Mark. Let's say he is that person that just genuinely wants to be that guy for the community, okay? Mm-hmm. And he wants to be, maybe not just for the community, but for the United States, for the little kids everywhere, you know, around the United States. I'm going to throw out a list of names for you, Mark, as to why he shouldn't run on the pavement. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Running routes. We'll talk about sharp cuts. I see people run routes and blow their knee out just for trying to run the route too sharp. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got names like RG3 is a big one. He ain't inspiring not a damn person right now. Okay, he was just as big as Lamar Jackson is right now. You got names like Jordan Reed, another Washington player who, like Jordan Reed, I don't know how many years everybody said Jordan Reed could be the best tight end in the league if he was healthy. Okay, Jordan Reed he could have been Kittle. He could have been George Kittle. He's not. Okay. Right. Ryan Shazier. He might never play football again. But you know what I'm saying? Ryan Shazier, you know, when he was playing with the Steelers, he was a one-of-a-kind talent at linebacker who would have played for years and just dominated, and that would have had a huge impact. He would have been a household name. And then you got people that were flash in the pan because they were injury prone. You have, I know Reggie Bush's career didn't really take off in the NFL like it was supposed to, but once he started getting hurt, it was a wrap. He had no chance to. You look at Bob Sanders for the Colts. He was Troy Polamalu. People are not going to remember that about him. People are probably not even going to remember the name Bob Sanders. Okay? People are probably going to hear his name right now and be like, damn, I forgot about that guy. Okay? And last but not least, I got two names. I got Marion Barber. See? You know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to throw out Sterling Sharpe.
Okay. Sterling
Sharpe should be a Hall of Famer. Sterling Sharpe, as Shannon says, was better than him. There's so many examples around the league where you just look at a guy, and let's say out of that list of people, the people that I think that could have had the most influence is somebody like a Reggie Bush, you know, or somebody like Jordan Reed. And they never got RG3, excuse me. RG3 is another one of those. Those are guys like RG3 in reality is the closest thing that Lamar can look at and be like, this is how injuries can derail your shit. Dumb injuries that should have never happened can derail you, you know, and nobody remembers RG3 for the seasons that he had. Mm-hmm. The only thing people remember RG3 for is being injury prone, being stupid about his injuries, and then being a completely like, damn, I keep forgetting he's playing for the Ravens. That's where he's at now. Guess what? You can't be as inspirational as you want to be, and you definitely can't get the bag. So, me personally, yes, Do not run those routes on the pavement, young man. Once you secure that wealth, and I think this is all Shannon Sharpe was really trying to say is once you secure that wealth, then you can go do those things. Then you can go have that fun. Now, if something happens to you, it doesn't matter. You might, you know what I mean? And if you don't have that influence from being in the game and being a star anymore, you at least have the money to use that for the influence.
Well, I can't put it any better than what you put it, so I'm going to let you mic drop, and we're going to move right along.
All right.
There's a bit of a mystery going on in the NFL right now, and that is why did the Raiders president Mark Bedane, why did he resign? This is the Raiders president. This is the president of the team who has now resigned. Not before the season started, but he resigned after the draft, after free agency, in 2 to 3 weeks before preseason starts. And now all of a sudden he resigns from the team. And they don't say why, don't give a reason as far as health or anything like that. It just says resigns and leaves it blank at that. So, Shawn, do you think that there's some nefarious reasons as to why this gentleman was he resigned?
How can I explain this? It's the Raiders organization, number one. I'm just going to throw that out there. Number two, they've had the team in Las Vegas for a year. This is Las Vegas. Okay. And number three, the timing is very peculiar. Very, very interesting timing, Mark. And I saw an article that said that they thought it was interesting because this is a month, like a little bit over a month before they gonna have, a sold out game opener.
Mm-hmm.
Last season, due to COVID, they weren't able to have the crowds. It was an empty stadium completely. They didn't even have a partial crowd last year. So now this is the first time they're going to have seats and butts in the seats in the stadium. And not only are you going to have butts in the seats, but it's going to be sold out. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, most of the home games for the Raiders are sold out.
Yes.
They might have a sold out season. And with that said, he was very integral in the moving. He was an integral part of moving the team to Las Vegas. It's part of his vision to move the team to Las Vegas. So for him to not see it all the way through to the grand season opener, home opener that's going to be sold out seems absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's no way in hell that he's just like, my time's up. You know what? It was a great run, because that's the statement that got put out, Mark. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Is he said, he had a great 30-year run. It is what it is. It's just his time is done, and he's gonna, he enjoyed it while it lasted. No, you didn't just wake up with an epiphany. So maybe he woke up with somebody named Tiffany, but I don't know, Mark. But yeah, definitely something nefarious going on. And Mark, let's give it about 2 weeks. I give it about 2 weeks before we hear something. But as of right now, nothing's come out.
Yeah, nothing has come out, but that is something to be on the lookout for. But I just find it interesting that this guy can go off quietly into the night with something that happened, and like nobody's like, "Yo, what? Why did you resign?" If a player was to just be like, "Yo," randomly and said, "I retire right now," like 1 week before the season, without saying anything, there would be everybody, interviewer, like saying, wanting to know why. Why did you do this? What's going on? Blah 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 blah. You can't be a guy that high of a position and resign at this time, and it's just like, oh, we're going to quietly question, but we're not going to blow this up. Like,
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that entire scenario because me as a Niners fan, I watched it happen. Chris Borland. If people that for those that don't know that aren't familiar with the Niners, Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis got hurt, and I think Patrick Willis got hurt. Navarro Bowman was hurt. He filled in. Chris Borland filled in, and from the time that he filled in to the time that the season ended, he led the league in tackles. Okay, at middle linebacker, and he ended up being an All-Pro, or I can't remember if it was All-Pro or Pro Bowl, but he definitely got notoriety. You know, I'm trying to remember. He might have been Defensive Rookie of the Year. But I'm saying he definitely showed up and showed out, Mark, like generational talent. Hey, this guy is going to be something for the rest of his career, and he just had a coming out party in his rookie season. And then I don't even remember when it was, but it was sometime in the off season, and it was way before the season started. He decided, hey, I'm going to retire. And you know what happened, Mark? Reporters were shoving all kind of microphones in that man's face, Mark. They had a whole lot of questions, like you said, a whole lot of questions. He answered them. Right. He spoke about the effects of CTE and him having a degree and him now having the money and the notoriety for him to start his business and make money other ways that weren't going to be detrimental to his health. Right. But the point of the matter is, they did ask Mark. They asked him a million questions. The second he said he was retiring, everybody wanted to know why a rookie linebacker with that much promise on the horizon would just quit. So it's the same thing. This guy, you got the president of operations waiting to see his baby, his project, moving the Raiders to Las Vegas. He got the final step in seeing a sold-out opener. Why would he quit? So yes, I feel like it is not. To me, it just seems like it's another scenario where the NFL somehow has the media in their pocket. The same way they have the police departments in their pocket. So I don't know, man. That's the way I feel about it. I feel like it's definitely the NFL that doesn't want it to come out because, it's the owners. The NFL owners this is the way they move,
Yeah, I feel you, man. There is an article that I came across randomly, and I found it interesting, so I wanted to share with you guys today. There's a women's beach handball team that was fined for choosing to wear shorts over bikini bottoms. This is a Norwegian team in the European beach handball league. It's called the European Handball Federation, the EHF. I've never even heard of the EHF, and I'm very curious to how you play handball on sand or on a beach, but it is what it is.
They get it done, Mark. I don't know. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, like I'm having a feeling that what they consider handball is not what we consider handball here.
I'm gonna assume there's some differences. Yes, I'm actually about to do some research right now, so continue.
But yeah, the Norwegian women's handball team has been fined after players opted to wear shorts instead of bikini bottoms during a European Championship game. This is one of the championship contenders, and they decided to wear big shorts instead of bikini bottoms. This says this article is from CNN, by the way. It says the European Handball Federation said Monday that it imposed a fine of 1,500 euros, which is approximately $1,700, or 150 euros, $176 for each player on the team for improper clothing in the bronze medal game against Spain on Sunday. The team's decision to wear shorts did not comply with the uniform regulations defined in the IHF beach handball rules of the game, the EHF said in a statement. According to the International Handball Federation regulations, female athletes must wear bikini bottoms with a side width a maximum of 10 centimeters or 3.9 inches with a close fit and a cut on an upward angle towards the leg. Meanwhile, men must wear shorts that are not too baggy and 10 centimeters above the kneecap. The team coach, Eskil Andrasen, told CNN Tuesday that the uniform regulations could discourage women from playing the sport. For obvious reasons. I'm going to leave that there. There's more to the article, but I'm going to leave that there and say this. Why does it matter as much, or why are we so hell bent on outdated regulations? These, like, first of all, like those regulations seem a bit sexist and sexual, correct?
It absolutely is. Like you just gotta, man. You ask it what it is. It's just a bunch of old perverts, man. Like let's just keep it. I don't want to dance around this shit, man. Look, you got a bunch of old guys. I'm sure it's a bunch of old men. I'm sure it's not no old ladies on this fucking panel. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of old men on this panel that want to see handball in bikinis. You know what I'm saying? That's what they want to see. But how they're allowed to still move and operate in this way in this day and age is beyond me, Mark. I did some research, Mark. So I tried to watch some videos of handball highlights. It's regular handball, indoor handball. And what I'm gathering is the way that they play it is it's like soccer, but you're catching with your hands, like you just have to catch it and move around like that. And I guess the better description is if you're familiar with the sport lacrosse,
right?
It's basically lacrosse
without the sticks,
without the sticks and without legal contact.
Okay.
So they're just running around. They'll throw it to somebody and then they'll catch it and they'll jump up and try to throw it in the net. Like it literally looks like a soccer field. Okay. So, then I go, I was watching the men's indoor and I was like, okay, that's cool. I go to the women's beach and they're wearing bikini bottoms and sports bras. It's the most ridiculous thing, Mark. There's absolutely no reason why it should be that way.
In a skimpy outfit.
It should not even be that way, right?
Why? Now, if you're jumping up and playing, so you mean to tell me your bikini bottom is going to turn into a thong bottom?
It does, Mark. Like I said, I just did some research. It absolutely. I wasn't sure if some of them were wearing thongs or whether they're just wearing bikini bottoms. Within 15 seconds, I was like, this is why those guys have their rules and regulations, okay? You just got a bunch of old perverts, you know what I'm saying, that are regulating this sport. And to be honest with you, Mark, it's one thing to say you can wear this. It's another thing to say that this shit is mandatory. Who the hell do you think you are putting clothes on? Take those clothes back off. Like, that's what's happening here. That's what's happening here. Like, did you see the picture of the team, of the Norwegian handball team?
Yes, I saw it with the shorts.
Like,
the shorts wasn't bad. It wasn't like
they're wearing shorts. They're wearing spandex shorts. And I was like, look, man. I mean, and I hate to take it here. It's like, that's not visually pleasing enough, Mark. They need to see bare naked cheeks, okay? This is the problem, man. Like this is absolutely a problem, Mark. There's no reason why they should be allowed to continue moving forward in this way. And now that it's been highlighted on a grander scale, I would hope that some type of government steps in.
Well, if these old men like that, then they would love the basketball league that's going on in Atlanta.
Hey, you know what? They probably have something to do with that. You know? but yeah,
I hear that basketball league could get flown out for special party events. So maybe those guys might want to look into that.
Hey, look, man, look. Look. I don't know much about that basketball league in Atlanta, but I did happen to notice that some of the outfits look very similar to these beach handball outfits. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, Mark. So yeah, that's the thing though. Like I honestly feel like there should be some type of government interference, and I don't say that. I'm not for that at all, Mark. When it comes to a lot of things, but damn it, come on, man. You gonna disqualify them because they decided to wear fucking spandex shorts?
Well, they were fined, not disqualified.
Oh, fine. Excuse me. Still, I'm sure they're not making enough money playing beach handball for them to be taking these fucking fines. I can tell you that. You know what I mean? So, you want to put clothes on, it's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
Like everything. It sounds so ridiculous to me, Mark. Nah, man. This is, you know. It just shows us that in other parts of the world, they're not as forward. They're not as forward thinking as the United States is.
Well, we can't say that because we are the home of the lingerie league, the lingerie football league.
They show up like it's very clear. It's in the title. You can't show up to the lingerie league and then not want to wear lingerie. So very straightforward. They know it is full disclosure here in the United States.
But
okay?
You know what's
full
funny?
Disclosure.
You know what's funny? I don't think the lingerie football league exists anymore. And I think that discontinued almost.
It might have just happened with COVID.
Almost 10. No, I think it discontinued like almost 10
years
ago.
Because they had changed the name, right?
No, did they?
That's probably why you can't find it. Look up Legends. Look up Legends Football League.
All right. But I could have sworn that it doesn't. But yeah,
it's because they changed the name.
But in all seriousness, no, you're right because it says 2019 season. The Legends Football League. I'm gonna be honest, man. Like the lingerie takes away from how serious and how well these women play the game. Like that's another thing though. Women just want to. There's a lot of women that just want to play football at this point, and you mean to tell me they gotta dress up in lingerie just so they can play football professionally somewhere? Like
that's a good point because I will say the competitiveness. I don't know if there's another league out there for football for women that exists, but I'm almost willing to bet everything that I own that league where they're wearing the lingerie is the most competitive.
Yo,
I know you've seen the games, Mark.
Yes,
I've seen the games.
Ball.
It is the most competitive by far. I guarantee you that. So yes, you're right. You're like, I want to play football on the highest level as a female. And then they hand you some boy shorts. And they
hand you lace boy shorts and say,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like what? What are we doing?
What do you mean this is my uniform? I didn't know I was working at Twin Peaks. I don't know what's going on here, man. Like
what are we doing?
So yeah, it is crazy that for a female to just want to play football competitively on the highest level, that's what you gotta subject yourself to.
Like you wanna play football on a professional level, and now you gotta wear the same outfit that Shorty wearing over at Little Darlings. Like stop it.
Yo, the same thing. Saying you look like you're out there looking like one of the shot girls at Deja Vu. You know, so yeah, it's crazy. I know we're making jokes about this shit, but this shit is unacceptable, Mark. I don't even know what better way to put it except for it is unacceptable. It lets you know how much diversity or lack thereof there is when it comes to major sports and the people that run the committees and come up with the rules for the shit.
Yeah, like Doug, that's like that is just crazy. You walking around looking like a star tender, and they like, yo, what do you do? I play football, huh? Like, what's going on? Like, Like, come on, man.
Nobody's gonna believe you.
Yeah,
Like
yo,
nobody's gonna take you serious.
yo,
That's one. You know what I'm saying?
your
So
football outfit looked like sexy football player from a Halloween store. Like,
yeah. It like I don't know what to tell. Like I'm laughing. It shouldn't be this funny. But Mark, imagine if somebody said, "Okay, now we're gonna give you a shot." You know, so you want to play basketball? Okay, look, just put this banana hammock on. Put this speedo on. You know what I'm saying? It's sorry, it just comes with the job. If you wear running shorts, we're gonna have to fine you. But yeah, no, you're gonna have to just be there in all your glory with these speedos on, brother. If you want to get a paycheck, like how crazy would that be, man? Like it's like I don't know, man. That's the way I see it. It's like,
I mean, shit.
This is what they're subjected to. This is what they're subjected to. Man.
I mean, shit. Let's look at indoor volleyball. Like, I mean, that's not nearly as egregious as
but it still is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. With the very small shorts and like
the very small spandex shorts.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, and I feel as though indoor volleyball could if indoor volleyball was to be turned into a major sport, I would watch it. Like in women's indoor volleyball is probably my favorite thing to watch in the Olympics. And it has nothing to do with like obviously as a young man, the way that my eyes first looked at it was like who's that girl from Team Brazil that's out there going crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? But then I actually watched the sport and I'm like, no, this is highly competitive stuff. So like my favorite thing in the Olympics to watch now is women's indoor volleyball. But with that being said, the way to get viewership should no longer be through the exploitation of women. We are far beyond that point in 2021.
Yeah, like we are. We are. Like shoot, if you wanted to fight or engage in combat as a woman 30 years ago, you were mud wrestling. You know what I'm saying? And now they're boxing, they're in the UFC. Like it evolved. Right. You know what I'm saying? It evolved. And what happens during that evolution is, steel sharpens steel, the talent pool gets better, and then you have a great product. But you have to give it a chance to grow. Mm-hmm. Because you got to think to yourself, how many women out there that can really play football ain't doing it because they got to put that outfit on? Like, I'm just saying, it's crazy. But you talk about the volleyball thing. Just one more thing on that. You talk about the outfits. I remember being in high school, having a girlfriend that played volleyball. And the first time I went to go, I just happened to stay after school. She was staying after school too. And I'm like, I couldn't see you at practice. And I went to practice and I was like, first, as a young man, I was like, okay, that's nice to look at. And then I began thinking about spectators. I seen a couple guys walking in the gym and I'm like, hold up, man. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about these outfits, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how I feel about my girl being on a volleyball team. And like these dudes, like I be looking at these dudes like, are you really interested in what's going on here? Huh? Are you really a volleyball fan? Let me go over there and start questioning these dudes, asking if they know what the rules are. You know what I mean? Like, right. I felt a certain way about it. You know what I'm saying? It felt different. Looking at the outfits, when I wasn't thinking about my girlfriend or noticing my girlfriend wearing the outfit. As soon as I noticed it, I was like, okay, I feel different. But I mean, but at the same time, Mark, that was definitely a sign for me that it's like, yo, who picked these outfits? You know what I mean? Who picked these outfits? And why are they this way?
Yeah, exactly.
So it is what it is. But yeah, I feel like the biggest takeaway from this is there should be options. If you want to wear that, go ahead, wear it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to wear long shorts, wear long shorts. there should definitely be options, Mark. And that's the part that I'm not liking about this whole thing.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like you're taking their choice away, and feel it feels to me like you're sexualizing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, which in obvious cases of Legends Football League, you are, but it is what it is. So,
Yep.
um, but like just mentioned, when the indoor volleyball thing, and we're gonna talk and about Olympics, and Olympics is coming up this Friday, or at least it's supposed to. COVID cases are on the rise, man, and they said the Olympics could possibly be in danger. Uh, Obviously, at this point, we are Wednesday, and by the time this comes out, this this it would be ceremony day, which is Friday. So, um, I would say that we will see the ceremonies, and we'll see a couple games, maybe and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
do you think that we would see the fulfillment of the 2020 Olympics?
Um, the fulfillment. Whew, man, it doesn't look promising. And my answer is going to be no, because as you know, Mark, I lived in Japan for 2 years. They don't play around with that type of thing. They don't play around with disease in that way. They do not. They're not a country that's like the United States. That's like come one, come all. Our doors are open to everybody. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
now that the general populace is now that this situation is affecting the general populace, then I expect the Japanese government to step in at a certain point where they feel like, hey, this is getting out of hand. And it's already kind of, and just for a reference point, um, I believe the number was 1,148 cases, something like that, that that they had total in Tokyo last Wednesday. And there have been 1,800 new cases since then. 1,800 new cases
Mm-hmm.
in the last 7 days. Um, and they said they're in danger of surpassing the numbers that they saw during the third wave back in January. So they've been handling it well, and this is basically, like I said, that's 150%. The rate of infection, the rate of cases has gone up 150% from last week. If it continues to go that fast, Mark, there will be a problem. And yes, they will absolutely shut it down. Like I said, Japan does not play with that. And if this was the United States, I would say that they would try their best to find a way and they would make sure it would happen. But I believe that the Japanese government will eventually step in, and what we will see is the Olympic Games being cut short.
Mm. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I like with the rise of the Delta variant. It seems like it's looking bleak for the 2020 Olympics, and and mind you, I just thought about it because I really like it didn't register until just now, until I said 2020 Olympics, but we were supposed to have this last year, but did not have it because of the pandemic and COVID. If it gets canceled again this year, it's just not going to happen because then it'll be 2 years away from the 2024, and at that point they're just, I feel as though they're just going to be like, well, it didn't happen, retool for 2024, and
Mm-hmm.
and let that be that. um which would be unfortunate because that for Japan, that would end up being a colossal waste of a dollar. Um, but for the Olympics overall, that's not really necessarily an uncommon thing. Um, Olympic it has come out in articles in past that the Olympics in general is not a good thing for the in any host country, anybody that hosts. I don't know um any situation where the host of the Olympics made out well from it and or made a bunch of money from it. It's one of those things that all these places they compete and want to host, but it doesn't bring any sort of prosperity in the future. You don't get any prosperity in the
It
future from
actually
it.
brings a lot of debt.
Yes. And
Um,
for those that don't know, or maybe you remember or don't remember, but look at Atlanta. With the Olympics from Atlanta. Atlanta was in deep debt for a very long time, and after they hosted the Olympics, and they didn't know what to do with all those Olympic buildings and stuff that they built for the Olympics for a while. Some of those got converted to other things and stuff like that, and some of them got knocked down. But you were
yeah.
going to say something?
Yeah. The only thing I was going to say is there's a couple of places in the United States where they made use of the facilities, and that's and you brought up Atlanta going through it, but then they still eventually found a way to do something with some of the Olympic Village. Not all of it, of course, but they used some of it, right? And they found a way to, make money off of it, or make use of the buildings, the condos, the apartments, whatever they had there. So yeah, and then if I'm not mistaken, LA was able to do something with some of their stuff too. So even in the best case scenario, all of all of the constructs and buildings that get put up for the Olympics, even in the best case scenarios, all of them will only be, you will not be able to reuse all of them, or all of them will not be made useful after the Olympics leaves. So we're talking about making major changes, major changes to the landscape, the city, the suburbs, wherever you're going to put these buildings, and you're making these major changes for years upon years, trying to get everything right, just for the games to come in for a couple of months. I'm saying a couple of months, a month and a half, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of months, and then that's it. It's crazy. You do all that work for a couple of months, and then you're just looking, and it's like, well, somebody has to upkeep these facilities. That costs money. You know what I mean? Somebody has to. You okay? Well, maybe we can get somebody to use the facility. There ain't a bunch of billionaires just running around trying to buy this shit up,
Right.
So it's just, it really does, like, if you're a city that's trying to host the Olympics and you don't have a plan for what you're going to do with all this stuff later, then you're absolutely hoping that the amount of money that you bring in from the fanfare and from the athletes is going to be enough for you to basically end up in the green from your investment.
Yeah. Now, here's an article. Like, I looked this up a while ago, and I brought it back up today. Here's an article from Thrillist. This was written in 2018 by Sam Bloom. Um, and essentially, it said, like, hosting the Olympics means footing the bill for the world's biggest sporting event and living with the consequences for a generation. Like,
That's facts, so.
and it says Beijing spent 40 billion to play host in 2008. $40 billion to be host to the Olympics, and only to see many of its venues languish. And it says the 51 billion bill Russia footed for the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi had fleeting returns at best. It once gleaming Olympic Park quickly became a ghost town after the games. And don't forget Rio. Like Rio was one of the ones that like was banned so quickly, and
Rio
then
was crazy.
like and the way that they built, I remember what was the craziest thing about Rio was the way that they built it. And there was like this giant wall that was put up, and right on the other side of the wall was the slums. Like
The slums. It was wild.
like like the slums. Like so Rio spent all this money on the Olympics, and yet you have the craziest slums right on the other side of the wall.
And you know, when we say slums, you know, if you are familiar with the term favelas, like, you know what I mean? Like that is like you're talking about tin roof slums. You know what I mean? Tin shack
like
slums.
for those that don't know what I'm talking about, like the scene from Bad Boys 2 where they just randomly have a yellow Hummer riding through a whole bunch of shacks and shanties.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and also if you need another reference, Fast Five, you know, that's two Fast and Furious references. Fast Five, you know, where the entire scene where they're chasing Vin Diesel and his team, and they're jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and they're running through people's houses. That's what they're talking about. Like that shit, that whole thing, they just put like a 50-foot wall up,
Right.
and right at the edge of the slums, put a 50-foot wall up. Motherfuckers outside watching. You can see all the lights here, the chairs and shit. Like
Right.
It was the craziest setup. And if you don't remember, what people was getting robbed. Like athletes were getting robbed and shit out there.
Yeah. What's his name?
Somebody got their wallet stolen. What was his name? What that goofy ass motherfucker name?
The swimmer, the white Ryan. Shit.
Hold up, I'm bringing it up.
And he lied about it. He lied about
Yep.
what he was doing and all that stuff.
Yeah,
yep.
Ryan. Hold on. Let me look at Ryan Lochte.
Yeah.
Boom.
There you go. But yeah.
Yep.
So there's all these examples of abandoned venues, and I'm going to put it together and show you guys like all images from all these abandoned buildings and stuff from the different games throughout the years, which is it's absolutely crazy. Like if you look at the baseball stadium from Athens, Greece in 2004, the Summer Olympics, like that shit looks like Chernobyl. Like
yeah, I believe that. That sounds crazy that you use that description, but yeah.
Yeah, like that shit looks like Chernobyl, dog. That's how quickly it has dilapidated. And looking at the swimming pool from the Athens Greece games as well. And I made a suggestion last year that maybe they could renovate one of these Olympic villages for the NFL bubble, because it would be a big enough space and you would just have to create the football fields and renovate the buildings. But when you look at how quickly some of these dilapidated and got run down, it's like, nah, that's not a viable option. It would just cost way too much to even do that. And like everybody's like rushing to host these games, and it's not what it's cracked up to be. So like don't think that hosting the Olympics is such an opportunity for anybody. Like I pray to God that America turns it down and says no, we will never host a game again. So
yeah, it's I got some bad news for you, Mark.
I know. It's like California or some shit, right?
2028 Olympics, I believe, is going to be hosted by Los Angeles.
Yep. See, that's what I thought. And
You're damn right. It's going to be in the United States, Mark. Okay, because I happened to look all this stuff up earlier. So yes, it will be coming back to the States. Man, I got so much to say about that I'm just going to keep to myself. But we'll see what kind of let's see what kind of situation or condition that California is in by the time 2028 comes. Because for last I checked, Mark, the whole state's been on fire for the last 5 years. Yeah. So I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works. They had a water shortage. LA traffic is LA traffic. I don't know how any of this is going to work, Mark. I honestly don't.
Like, here's the thing. If you were going to do the Olympics in America, it legit makes sense to have it in middle America. Like,
take that shit to Montana.
Like take it to Montana has a lot of trees and stuff. But no, I'm talking about like take it to South Dakota. Point. Yeah, like take it to South Dakota.
Flat things. Yeah.
Like that's where it needs to be. Like that's legitimately where it needs to be if it was to be anywhere in America. Just flat land, do what you're gonna do, build it up, and then it doesn't matter if it's there later or not. Like, because it's
taking up space that nobody's using.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. But it's all about the fanfare. It's about what can we get out of it? We need to make some money from this. You know what? There's more people in LA. There's more businesses in LA. There's more, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like it's still, it's one of those things where it's just interesting. My grandparents went to the '96 Olympics in Atlanta. A couple of my uncles and aunts went with them. They only went like for like a week. They had tickets to go for a couple of events for a couple of days. Like I think they had 3 days worth of events that they went to over the course of the week. And of course, track and field was one of those. They got to see, if I'm not mistaken, that was Michael Johnson with the gold shoes around that time, if I'm not mistaken, that they got to see. That was crazy though. But I remember them telling me about how crazy the traffic was and how you couldn't do anything, and how all of the local businesses and restaurants that were catering catering to the Olympics and the Olympic Village, that how everything was like double priced. It was crazy. They spent more money going to see the Olympics than they would have on a Disney World trip.
Yeah.
So it's the reason why people are fighting tooth and nail to try to get to try to host the Olympics. Short term, it's fantastic for money. Long term, it's fucking terrible. Yeah. And the only thing I can think of is, if I'm not mistaken, crazy things happen, like, in these abandoned buildings, like people getting raped, drug usage, and all these other things tend to happen in these unused buildings. So that's the part that nobody talks about.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. But I am like, it's just, I don't think it's gonna go to fruition. And when you think about that, like, that's even more money that's going to be lost in this particular Olympics. The Olympics itself seems to be like something that has gotten bigger than what it should be, as far as being profitable. Like, maybe certain things shouldn't just fall on the host city. Or, you know what I mean? Like, what happens with all that money and stuff like that? Like, how much money does the Olympics make? I guess that's my question.
Whew, man. Like, I can assume that they're making a bulk of the money.
Like, the Olympics committee, they have
to be.
Like, it's weird, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna have to dig into that. We're gonna
Yeah,
have to get some investigators on that shit.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because it seems like the whole city is just trying to make money off of the tourism. But
Yeah.
but the thing is though that when you host big events like that, like this and all that stuff, this because the event is so big, the city shuts down. So
Yes. Absolutely shuts down.
so therefore, whatever money you were going to make from quote unquote tourism never actually happens. Um, like I remember when the Pope came to Philadelphia, it was supposed to be so good for the city, blah 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 blah. But the entire time the Pope was here, all of downtown was shut down because of us because of potential assassination attempts on the Pope. So like you couldn't be traveling through the city. You couldn't be traveling through the downtown area by car. You could like and you couldn't be going certain places through the city neither. Like they would block you unless you had tickets to see the Pope and that's where you were going. And mind
Yeah.
you, this was a big outside event at the art museum. And so
So
like
that whole district down by the art museum
yeah,
shut down.
like not just down by the art museum, but like even further past that. Like you know what I mean? Because legitimately, if I had a Barrett and I was on a rooftop somewhere,
Yeah.
I could, you know what I mean? I could
You can
get
get so they had that much of a perimeter.
exactly, you know what I
Okay.
mean? So like, it's so it was that type of it was that type of thing to where like I was working weekends at the time and my job was like nah, like nobody's coming in, like we was just at home. Like so
Hmm.
it was stupid. It was stupid. Now mind, but here's the thing: if you was if you ran your house as an Airbnb that weekend,
Oh yeah, you probably was cooking.
you
You was probably killing it.
you made super bread. But you know what I'm saying? But like that's the only people that's making money is the hotel industry and the people that are running their home as an Airbnb.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like everything else gets shuts down because the event takes up everything. But
Mm-hmm.
that's all I got for this episode, man. I don't have anything else that I feel as though is pertinent for today. How about you?
Um, I don't. I really don't have anything else. Um, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the Michael Irvin stuff.
I did at first, but uh, it's not important. It's not at least it's not important enough to have to talk about it today. It can wait till next week.
Well, then I've got nothing because I'll save what I wanted to talk about for that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can save that for next episode.
All right. Cool. So far for next episode, we already have two topics. What makes up a super team? Well, three topics, I guess. What makes up a super team? Failed super team. And the Michael Irvin comments recently.
The other topic that I have for that is going to be the Manning brothers.
Oh yeah.
The Manning brothers heading into the booth, but I want to talk about that on the next episode. So
right, the Manning brothers heading into the booth. Yeah. So legitimately, I thank you for showing up today. You know what I'm saying? Uh, things have been trying for you recently. Definitely want to acknowledge that here, and
Mhm.
and acknowledge you and your family, and and if you would like, go ahead and take the time, man, to acknowledge your friend. That
yeah. What he's speaking about, for those of you that don't know, is my oldest, my longest time friend, Christopher James, as we know him as Kool-Aid. He passed last week Monday. So it's been really rough for me. He was like a brother to me. If y'all wondering where the name Kool-Aid came from, you know, he was known for making the best Kool-Aid, period. And he even, I think his nickname spawned when he decided he smuggled a pitcher of Kool-Aid into middle school. And we took it to lunch with him. And he literally gave everybody Kool-Aid. What we didn't know is that fool had two pitchers. He had a pitcher in his locker, and he had a pitcher that he took to lunch. And everybody got a bunch of the little water cups. And it was like, what the hell is going on? Somebody, the lunch ladies in the line got a bunch of them. People just kept coming up there for these little water cups. Like, what are you guys doing? And this dude is pouring everybody Kool-Aid cups. And, and at that point, he cemented his legend as the best Kool-Aid maker that anybody has ever come across. So, it just, for whatever reason, it stuck. And that's what it went to. But either way, he passed last Monday, and it's just been really hard on me and my family because he was like a brother to me, same age as me. But just to let you know how far his reach has gone is, my sisters are having a rough time in the morning. My aunts, have expressed that they have lost a nephew. So it's very close to me and my family. So condolences to everybody that loved this man, to his family. We gonna get through this, man. We gonna get through this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you for that. And really, Chris, he really sounds like a really dope dude, man. He sounds like he's like really dope dude. And with that being said, I'm going to just close it out. Not going to say the normal saying today, but if you enjoyed the episode, like, subscribe, and I'm just going to close it out by saying rest in power, Christopher James, and peace.
Peace. I keep forgetting I don't got a mouse. I'm over here trying to.
The recording has stopped.